Hello and welcome back to yet another episode of Thoughts from a TV Geek. My name is Sean Scott.
And I'm Kelly Neal, and we're going to talk about some of our favorite TV shows.
So stay right there, stay tuned, we'll be right back. I want to talk about one of my favorite shows. It's becoming a good show, finally. Fear the Walking Dead. This week we are, the episode is caught up in a whole bunch of different emotions, and truths have come out in this particular episode. Cliff Curtis, I should say Travis, played by Cliff Curtis, has come to the realization that his son, Chris, is kind of becoming on his own. He's becoming his own man. Now he's about 16. He just drove a car for the first time. He's having his first beer. Not so much with his dad, but having his first beer nonetheless. And really trying to find this space that he belongs in this world. His father's not all too happy about that. Travis seems to have his own way of dealing with it, which kind of isn't quite dealing with it yet. He killed his ex-wife, yes, but he did that kind of out of mercy,
right?
I think, and out of love, where now it's you have to do it for survival, and he's not quite ready yet to deal with that, whereas his son Chris is throwing everything to the wind and said, no, it's game on now.
It's one of the things in this world, one of the interesting things is the kids that have survived and are growing up in this world and are growing up very quickly, and obviously becoming who they probably never would have become had the world remained the same. So with Chris, that's exactly what's happening, and with him, it's even, I think, more dramatic than with Carl in The Walking Dead, because I don't know why, but Carl was even younger. Carl was supposed to be 10, I think, in the first season.
Something like that, yeah.
So he was even younger, but it took him a while to really become. I don't even think he's become exactly where Chris is at, and that could be Rick's influence, just the way that group of people were together. But yeah, Chris is fundamentally thinks very differently than Travis.
Well, you have two kids trying to grow up in this world of chaos and trying to figure out where their place is as a young man, as a survivor in this new world. Now, he did find it, and with a couple of kids, sorry, I can't remember the names off the top of my head right now, but he's found kind of a group that he can run away with and hang out with and kind of be him, kind of be himself in this world. Right. Which bothers the heck out of Travis because he wants him to be this little kid, and you have to grow up. These guys, these young guys, Chris's age, are now taking the place of his father, trying to. He's looking to them for guidance. Now, it might be misguided guidance, which is what his father seems to be trying to tell him, but he's not listening. I mean, the kid's a 16-year-old kid who listens to their father at 16. And he's also mad at him. He still has that resentment of, well, you killed my mother, and he kind of gets why, but, if you can do this, why can't you do that?
Right. Right.
I should say, just the opposite. If you did that, why can't you do this now? It doesn't make any sense. But, at one point we see Chris driving off in the back of the pickup with his new compadres there, and Travis standing there going, where are you going? What the hell? And sometimes, as Madison saw with Nick, sometimes you just gotta let him go.
Let him go. Gotta let him go.
Although 16, I think I'd have grabbed him by the back of the head and said no. But that's me.
It's also, though, a very different world.
Yeah.
And so it's even scarier thinking of teenagers who are going through what all teenagers go through and will go through, yet there's no safety net, because once you leave, you know, the odds of getting back to your parent, even, you know, even if it's years down the road or whatever, when you finally, and everyone who has left a parent has gone through it, where it's finally like, it's time to get in touch again. It's time to make amends, this and that. You can't do that in this world because you don't know where they are. Everybody moves around, you know what I mean? So it's a scary thing too, in my opinion, you know?
Right. Well, as Madison showed the previous week, where she lit up the sign for the hotel and, you know, has now brought all these people to it as a sign, as a beacon for Nick to, hey, here I am, come get me. She finds Travis. I should say Travis finds her. So
yeah.
there is that connection of coming back, but as we know from Walking Dead and now Fear the Walking Dead, they're only a couple of blocks, maybe a mile or two away from one another, so they're gonna find each other. It's
We
just a
said
matter
that
of
last
when.
time, but you know, part of that too, that's storytelling. I mean, of course, the writers have to bring it back around to where they're together again at some point. But when you really look at the reality and the psychology of a kid walking off, you really honestly may never see them again, you know?
Well, I think that's what Travis's you know, main fear was, is I'm not there to protect you. These kids aren't going to protect you. They're going to kill you or get you killed in some way. You want to protect your kid.
Yep.
So you want them to come with you, but it just wasn't in the cards.
That's what prompted Madison to turn the light on.
Right.
You
right,
know,
yeah.
I mean, it's her son, you know?
Right, but here's the thing is Madison let Nick go before, but he's run away so many times to do his thing and has always come back okay, relatively.
Right.
That she feels he can go off and do that. Later on, we find Madison talking to her daughter Alicia about what really happened to her father, and that the dynamics changed there because I understood that he had died, but what we don't know up until now is that he wasn't hit by a car. He committed suicide.
Right.
It was a big, huge shock to Alicia. In that moment, they actually bonded for the first time because Alicia felt the love for Madison that she hadn't felt before. And it was conveyed in that story that, you know, I hid this from you guys, and Nick doesn't know this, so you're the only one who does, so, you know, it's kind of their bonding moment in the episode.
So next we're going to talk about Gotham.
Okay. 3rd
season premiere. I really loved it. I'm thoroughly enjoying the show. Always been a Batman fan. And this episode was called Better to Reign in Hell, which is pretty appropriate. You know, Fish is back, and she's ruling the streets, as it were.
What's that phrase? A woman scorned?
Yeah. No.
Hell have no fury like a woman scorned.
There you go. Exactly. She has all those monsters from the asylum place. The doctor's gone, but Fish got a hold of the woman whose name escapes me, who was working with Dr. Strange. Yes. So
they found her.
Yep.
When Jim Gordon was looking for her.
Yep.
He found her, and that actually led them to her.
Exactly. He tried to help and didn't work.
But I think that was a setup, though. I think he was put on that path because the new girl that's in it, the reporter, gave him that information.
Yes.
And guided him that way. And I think she's in Fish Mooney's pocket.
Right.
At least she kind of seems to be.
And I think Jim suspected that too in the episode. He suspected.
But why go to it if you know what's going to happen?
You know, I don't know. Bruce's doppelganger had me fooled in the beginning, because when he was in the beginning and he was in that alleyway and they first showed his face, I thought it was Bruce out in the streets trying to do what he does, getting info or whatever, you know, like he had done before, and then all of a sudden to find out, wait, no, Bruce just got back, so that's not him. So, yeah, interesting.
Well, it is interesting. Was he from the Indian Hills Reservation? Indian Hills compound, whatever you want to call it?
Right.
Was he from there? Did they create this new Bruce to replace him? Be an interesting to see what's going to happen with that, because as you see in the past episode, he's taken and brought somewhere,
Yeah. Yeah.
which by the time this airs, you'll know where that is.
Exactly.
But still, yeah, he's brought somewhere to meet who seems like the people are really behind the scenes of Gotham.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least behind the Wayne Enterprises
Right.
in Gotham.
Right. Penguin, Enigma.
Yep.
Maybe together again.
They're buddying up again?
I don't know. I love Penguin. I have
Penguin's
to say,
great, man.
he is my absolute favorite character. When this show started, I had said at the time, and I still say it, if it was just the Penguin show, I would watch. I love him.
That's a great character.
Yeah.
Which is funny because I never thought of him as being kind of the top character. Everybody assumed the Joker would be, but I kind of like, and I hope they did this intentionally by pulling the Joker aside and letting other characters flourish for the first time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because there's been so much hype about, Suicide Squad and what that's going to bring with how that's going to come together with the Batman and Superman in I want to call it the Super Friends, but
Right.
The Justice League movies, there's so much talk about that, and you had Heath Ledger playing a great
Oh my God, yeah.
a great Joker.
Oh, absolutely.
Although I did dig Jack Nicholson, but that's a whole nother story. But there's been so much talk and so much hype about that Joker that I like how they just kind of they showed him for 1 or 2 episodes and then moved off and have found other really good characters to play.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I want to give credit. Robin Lord Taylor plays Oswald, Cobblepot. He's amazing. He was in The Walking Dead.
Was he?
Yep, he was the blonde kid, and he was the first one to get killed in the hog thing.
The tub scene.
Yes.
Yes. In Terminus.
Yes, in Terminus.
Yes, I forgot about that. Yeah,
he
that's
came
right.
back.
Yeah.
He came back just to get killed.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously, it's Gotham. Lots of things are happening, but I think it's a really good show, and I'm enjoying it. Jim the Bounty Hunter. We know eventually what seat he's going to wind up having, but I wonder how long they're going to take to actually get him in the commissioner seat.
It's interesting. It's got to be quite a while. I mean, you still have Bruce as, this 14-year-old kid. And you have Poison Ivy, who's not yet poisonous yet.
Yes.
You have Cat, who is going to be Catwoman eventually. But I like how they're playing the love interest role between them early as kids.
Yes. Yes.
We know they've had this love-hate relationship throughout the years of we could be partners, no, we can't. You're a good guy, bad guy kind of thing. So I like how they use that dynamic. Poison Ivy will be interesting to see kind of how she blossoms into her role. And I would have to assume if she blossoms into her role, who becomes Bane eventually, if they bring that character in.
Right.
I mean, there's still a ton of good characters. I'm still waiting. Like I mentioned earlier, the Bookworm is rumored to come into this season. I don't think they will, but they should bring in Egghead and King Tut. But that's me going way back to the TV series.
Way back. That's okay. That's okay. So let's move forward.
Okay.
To Lucifer.
All right.
Which I'm thoroughly enjoying. Lucifer, I believe, had one of the best pilots last season. It was fantastic. I loved it. And then what happened, at least for me, my opinion, it kind of dipped. Like the next 3 episodes, it didn't have that same spark, And I was worried. I thought, oh, they did so good in the pilot. Now they're going to ruin it. But it got better. It definitely got better. And the second season has started, and I think it was really, really good. It's, for those of you that don't know, Lucifer is about the devil, Lucifer, and he's called Lucifer Morningstar.
Lucifer Morningstar.
Yes. He owns a nightclub. He quit. So he quit hell.
He gave up on hell.
He
Lucifer gave up on
totally quit.
And
He
what
didn't
was it?
want to be that
What
anymore.
was what's his last name now?
Morningstar.
Morningstar. Lucifer Morningstar.
Yes.
Very hippie. Very hippie-like parents to have that.
To
That's
have that
interesting,
name,
yes.
yeah. So he's, he's mad at his dad for placing him in hell to look after hell. He doesn't like it. So yes, he comes back. He comes here, and he's not causing real trouble. He's just, he's like, I'm done. I want to just hang out. And he winds up hooking up with a detective. This is the first season,
Right.
obviously. He winds up hooking up with a detective in that in this one particular case, and winds up now helping her. And she knows something's off with him, besides the strange name.
Yeah.
And he doesn't. It's funny because he doesn't lie. He flat out says, that he's the devil. But who's going to believe him?
Right.
I mean, So, and he has a therapist. He goes to therapy.
But you know what? But you know what's funny though is most people that would be considered crazy, that would say they're a god or an entity, some kind of godlike figure, would say God, not the devil.
Yeah.
Other than maybe what's his name, Ramsey there, the Zodiac killer. Other than him, maybe. But.
Yeah, But definitely a good show. I just want to, because it's the first time we've really talked about this. Tom Ellis plays Lucifer. Okay. Lauren German plays Chloe the detective, and she's from Chicago Fire, if you've ever seen Chicago Fire. Yep. D.B. Woodside, he plays actually an angel who is Lucifer's brother, Amadil, and he was in 24. He was in Day 6, so the 6th season of 24. Right. He was also the principal in the 7th season of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I knew he looked familiar, and it wasn't from 24. So when I found that out, I was like, all right, that's where I know him from, Buffy. And Maze, who is basically Lucifer's assistant, and she's like, through all eternity, her job is to help and protect Lucifer. That's her job. She loved hell. She can't stand that they're here. But because her job is to take care of Lucifer, she had to come here. She hates it. She was in the Librarians, if you've ever saw that show. She was in that. So, yeah. So, pretty good show.
Check
it out. Absolutely. So now we have 4 new shows. So the first show, Designated Survivor. I caught the premiere. It was actually really good. I like Kiefer Sutherland. It basically is about the Designated Survivor is whenever there's a State of the Union address and everybody, all the cabinet, and everybody is in one building. They have what's called a Designated Survivor, and it's one member of the cabinet who is in a totally secret location, off premises, so that, God forbid something happens, we still have a president. And that's exactly what happens is Tom Kirkman, he's a low-level cabinet member, and you find out that the president actually already has plans to get rid of him.
Oh.
Yeah. So he winds up being the designated survivor this particular time, and everything goes to hell. The whole building is blown up, and he winds up being the president. And he's the least likely person to be president. I believe he's the cabinet member for Parks and Recreation or something like that, and he becomes the president. Yes, absolutely, and that's the big deal.
Okay.
Kiefer Sutherland is great, obviously, and he's playing a very different character because if anybody's seen 24, of course,
yeah, he'd be playing a more mellower.
Yeah, and they put him in these big oversized glasses and stuff, and he's very. He doesn't take charge. He doesn't stand up for himself. Very different. He has a wife and a daughter, and they get shuffled off to the White House, and he gets sworn in, and then it's an aftermath. So it is all about. Because I was thinking, where are they going to go with this? Because once you're the president, okay, you're the president, but it's the whole aftermath.
Well, you got to get it. You got to get to
what happened.
Why? Who did it?
You have the the FBI agent involved now, and then him becoming president and becoming presidential. So one of the things they did with the glasses, which I thought was a little cliche. I understand why, but like at the end, it's his first speech as president, and of course they make him take off the glasses so that he looks more presidential. So you know that eventually the glasses are going bye-bye.
Right.
It's something that it's a tool that like they always use in television and film to show going from nerdy to cool.
Right, right, yep, yep.
So glasses are cool, people. But yeah, definitely, I believe worth checking out, giving it a chance. Next on the list is The Exorcist,
Oh, man.
and I actually just watched that today. So that, for those that don't know, it's directed by Rupert Wyatt from Rise of the Planet of the Apes.
Okay.
The writer-creator is Jeremy Slater, and it stars Alfonso Herrera plays Father Thomas. Tomas, that's right, Tomas. And if you saw Sense8, he was in that. Ben Daniels plays Father Marcus, and he was in House of Cards.
Okay.
And then Hannah Kasalka, she plays Casey, and she was in The Fosters. And then, of course, you have Gina Davis, who we all know and love from Thelma and Louise, League of Their Own, and a bunch of other movies.
And is a legit genius.
Yes.
She has an IQ over 140, so she's a legit genius.
Legit. So, how did you like it?
Well, you forgot one other actor in there who was a funny actor. So it'd be interesting to see how he plays in this. Alan Ruck.
I love Alan Ruck.
Who was in Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Yes.
He plays the miserably sick friend of Ferris Bueller. Just wanted to bring that up. He plays the dad. Mm-hmm. He's been in a car accident of some kind. I don't really know the whole story yet, the backstory on him. He has some kind of brain damage.
Yeah, definitely losing his mental faculties.
Kind of. Fairly interesting. I said over the past couple of weeks that this show has to deliver. You can't take the name The Exorcist and make it a soft show.
Right.
Although I think it may have done a little bit better on FX or even HBO, then you could take it even further. But from what I saw of the first episode, I think it hit a home run.
I liked it too.
The little boy, Isaac Liners, who plays Gabriel, is the first kind of possessed person that we see in this.
Right.
And Father Marcus, tries to save his soul, but there's that weird twist at the end. Literally weird twist that kind of throws it off. I think the makeup was great. I think the teeth were great. I think everything they had about Gabriel, the voice, was very classic Exorcist.
Absolutely.
And there were some throwbacks to it. I don't know if you've seen it. There's some Easter eggs, if you will, but more like not Easter eggs, but what do you call it?
Playing homage.
Playing homage, where they have the priest walking up the dark alleys and they're kind of showing silhouettes.
Absolutely.
He's looking up toward the top of the house in Mexico, or wherever it is, and it kind of has that, look from the original of I think it's Father Thomas. I think his name was, walks up and he sees the light coming from the. Actually, that was at the end of it. Sorry. They show the picture of the stairs that he falls down at the end, but they show that as a news clipping. So there were plenty of spots that I went, all right, they're throwing some old stuff in there. I like that. I like what they're doing. I like how they have an embattled priest himself.
Right.
He's kind of on that, I'm not sure where I lie.
Exactly. I like
Tomas.
I like the other twist, which is the sisters. The one you totally expect to be possessed is not.
Well,
that you know of.
Yeah, right. Well, that's exactly how they set it up.
Yeah.
It's not that she's not, as we found out later on in that episode. It seems like there's going to be more than just one. There'll be several people.
Yeah.
And I don't know how Father Thomas managed to see the stuff that happened with Father Marcus. I'm waiting for them to, interested to see how they come. At first, I thought he was the kid, and this was, how he grew.
Oh, I
and
see.
he grew up, but
No.
not,
No.
you have Father Thomas, you have Gabriel, two different people.
Right.
Well, I wasn't quite sure where they were going with that angle. And they also, yeah, there's so many links to the original, the stairs coming from the attic. Sorry to jump back and forth, but I was very excited by that, how he had to go up in the attic and see what was going on. And yeah, I think it's living up to it.
Oh, I do too.
You'd mentioned earlier in this episode that, Lucifer kind of, went up high and then kind of it peaked and kind of came down a little bit.
Yeah.
A lot of new shows do that. They come at you with a big punch.
Sure.
And they'll lay off the third or fourth episode and then start coming back up. So I'm kind of, I have to wait and see what happens. But as long as this holds true to what they've already shown, it should be a really good show. My one take that I'm not sure about is how many people are going to end up being possessed. You can't have too many, because then it kind of gets, it's going to get a little weird. It's going to kind of seem like an outcast where everybody's kind of demonized, and I don't want that.
Right.
I don't think that'll be good. And the Sisters was a nice surprise.
It was. It fooled me.
And it should do that. It should,
Yeah.
something like The Exorcist, you need to be surprised
Exactly.
by little things like that.
Exactly. So we are just about out of time.
All right.
And I want to thank everybody for watching. We are Thoughts from a TV Geek. Please visit us at thoughtsfromatvgeek.com, and you can message me on Twitter at Kelly E. Neal. And we will see you next time.
We'll see you at the same, nah, I can't say that yet again. We'll see you next time.